Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. This is Mr. Shilon, Mohammed Shilon, coming to you from the United States. And also, as soon as I know, for the past several weeks, I've had a co-host who has been extremely helpful, you know, educative. He's been enlightening we on some vital areas when not only trending topics in Sierra Leone, but areas that are vital that the government is doing certain things on, like the airport, like the proportional representation issue when they come up for the 2023 election, and then the Supreme Court challenge and all of that. So Mr. Mengot, I'm a co-host today, who's been my co-host for the past several weeks. And I need not overemphasize or emphasize more how helpful he has been to all of us, listeners, as well as contributors with the call. Now, today the topic is going to be limited to the outcome and analysis, the ramification of the recent Supreme Court decision concerning the matter that was before it recently for the upcoming election. We had to do with the proportional representation issue. And then, of course, another trending thing will affect every one of we, even within the United States, as long as we have intention of going to Sierra Leone, somehow it will touch us, it will affect we, for good or for bad. And that's the airport, the new construction, and that also the ramification. And lucky for us, we do have Mr. Mengot, who is very vast, both in the facts and as well as the technical issues concerning the two matters here. So we are grateful. Also, I have to remind you now, for say, some, particularly if we get the good listeners, for say some of we sometimes can forget the rule or if we know the rule, but I have to be very thankful to most of we audience, almost 100%, people have been very compliant with the rules of engagement on this show. And the rules are pretty simple. You can call in any moment because it's a live interactive show. It is being broadcast worldwide. So we do get callers from different countries, including Sierra Leone, one of the primary target audience. And then we also require that every interaction or exchange should be done with the utmost respect to each other. The caller should have the utmost respect to the host, for the host them, and the host then likewise will be even more respectful. And so we also want callers then to be respectful of prior callers. Okay, you may disagree, but just do it respectfully. Because in my line of work, we always say reasonable men can differ. We don't have to see things the same way. We don't have to see things eye to eye. But let's remember, the central focus here is all about Sierra Leone. At the end of the day, we're Sierra Leoneans. And I think most of us mean the best for the country. But most of us will be coming from different points of view. And that degree or that level of tolerance, that's what we grossly they encourage people and for do. If you get something to say, now the reason make with the broadcast in Creole for make people and feel at ease that you're not going to forget a degree or you're not going to go college for be able to call in. And since the target audience and Sierra Leoneans, then we don't say every Sierra Leonean they talk Creole. So even to the detriment of the broadcast itself, because we are carried on Facebook, Instagram, all the other medium them, but which preferably we will have done them in English, but because of the target audience being Sierra Leone, we want to make sure, say, the Sierra Leoneans can get the benefit of we program. Now, there are some numbers I always remind the audience or just direct the audience for be familiar with. we get certain numbers we always announce to the people. And these numbers are, we have a toll-free number, which is 866-944-7722. 866-944-7722. If you're calling from the United Kingdom, now plus 44 20 80 89 1455. Again, plus 44 20 80 89 1455. I call it too fast the first time. If you call from Australia, now plus 61 29 09 84 337. Again, plus 61 29 09 84 337 if you're calling from Australia. And last but not least, we'll get a WhatsApp number where you can call from and where you can call to. That number is 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. Also, let me remind you now, for say, when you call, we get a 3 minutes time limitation. And the reason for that is because we know, say, a lot of times when people don't call, we don't get more for say than 3 minutes. But we research shows say if we make it longer than that, people we're not to number one, number two. Now the queue, the calling queue, will get for spend a long time waiting. Because if you didn't have the calling queue, you're not the third caller. There's a chance that you will have to wait for at least 10, 11 minutes before we will get to you. And if you're not a fifth caller, then you can begin to see the point you had to make. Because then, if you're not the fifth caller, you will almost spend half an hour before we get to you. So for convenience for everyone and for avoid frustration and avoid discouraging people from calling, we come up with a 3 minute time limit. So if you talk, when the 3 minutes is up, a buzzer will come on for alert you or for notify you, say your time is up. Please, we encourage you for comply. So we know we get for sound the buzzer over and over. We give 15 seconds after the buzzer come on for encourage you for wrap up. But let's say you get boku what you want to say, and 15 seconds not going to do you any good. Just let us know that you have a lot more you want to say, and we allow you for call back. There's nothing stopping you from calling back. So you can come back, and when you come back, please identify yourself. Saying, I mean, such and such will be the talk about such and such. I just want to finish which I'll be the chalkboard. We're strongly encourage people for do that. Forget every piece out of your mind where you want for chalkboard. But that way, we will draw them in an organized fashion. Everybody will be given equal opportunity, and so we will get what we set out to do, and that is making sure everybody participates. Also, the other thing that we do of late is instead of going into the topics and then wait at some point for turn and say the lines are open, once we begin to discuss the topics or the issues, please feel free for call at any time. When the control room show the host that there is or there are callers on the line, we go as soon as possible mute or suspend what you will be to say, give preference to that caller day, because we don't know what in that caller day in circumstance. He may be calling from work, has limited amount for talk bots. He may be calling from a different circumstance, not necessarily from the comfort of your home or in your office. So we want for, again, take that into account. So we go as soon as possible, hold off what will be the talk bots, and then take that caller day and call, and if time permits, go back. Now, there are times when I go call, we may not be able to respond, because if there's another caller, then we will only make note of what you say, and if chance permits, we will come back and respond to caller number one, caller number two, because we now to begin address the issue when other callers are on the line, because we are very sensitive to how long people stay on the line. Okay? So that said, I hope we enjoyed the show. Looking forward to a very nice interaction as usual. And that at the end of the day, we all will learn from each other or walk away knowing that we've picked up something we didn't know before. Now, the topics today we will deal with, if you remember, there was a matter we're going at the Australian Supreme Court. That matter they had to do with the upcoming election in terms of how we go about conducting the election. So there are disagreements as to how we for do them. And so some people can go to court, like Member of Parliament Abdul Kagbo, one of the plaintiffs then, went to court, taking issue with the Electoral Commissioner and this Attorney General, who were the named defendants. Okay, and then are the named defendants. So we want for just dive into that today, and we'll go play a video, some of which had to do with the Chief Justice reading of the decision. And then after thorough analysis by me and Mr. Mengot, we'll hopefully be able to get to the second topic when at the airport and its own ramification before the show ends. So we're glad for get everybody on board. So now we do have a video where maybe the control room can play a portion for we. Follow, just see what happened. American Mango say what came down in the Supreme Court, but what actually took place is a very long decision, and the Chief Justice had to, well, he read it. He didn't have to, but he did. He read I think it's a 54-page decision. So it takes some time. It's a little time consuming. So we could just want to give people any feel for it of what transpired. So if the control room can show it or can play that video there for whatever, for 5 minutes or something of that time there, it would be great. 5 or more minutes, whatever is reasonable.
Above is broad enough as to encompass all of this. Firstly, a precedent has been set, which I dare say is not only consistent with the Constitution because of Section 33, but it's on all fours with what transpired into it, leading on to the passing of the Boundaries Wards Delimitation Regulation 2008. Secondly, the Electoral Commission would not be acting outside its functions, which are well stated in Section 33 of the Constitution Act number 6 of 19, which has been well documented. Thirdly, by Section 32(11) of the Constitution, in exercise of these functions, the Electoral Court is not subject to the control and direction of any person or authority. Declarations. All things considered, this court hereby makes the following declarations. 1. That on a proper construction of Section 38A, 1 of Constitutional Amendment Act number 15, all conditions precedent for the holding of or conducting of general elections of ordinary members of Parliament to a district block representative were met and or fulfilled. 2. That a directive given by His Excellency the President to the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone to hold the 2023 elections, public elections for ordinary members of Parliament by the district block representation system instead of constituencies was in tandem with the provisions of Section 38(1) of the 1991 Constitution, as amended and therefore not ultravirus. 3. that the current parliament will soon be dissolved, and thereafter all constituencies currently existing will be extinguished for purposes of representation in parliament in favor of representatives representing each of the 16 districts of Sierra Leone, inclusive of independent candidates who secure the minimum threshold for the attainment or securing of seats in parliament. 4. That the revision of constituents as provided in section 38(4) does lead to alteration of the number and/or establishment of subject to parliamentary approval. 5. That independent candidates can and are part of the electoral system and can stand and be voted for to be included in any of the seats representing the existing 16 districts in the country. 6. That statutory instruments number 13 and 14 of 16th November are part of the laws of Sierra Leone and are not altered by Section 33 and 38 of the Constitution Act number 6 of 1991, Section 38A of the Constitution as amended in 2001, and Section 171 of the Public Elections Act number 17 of 2001. 7. That pursuant to and subject to the current law in the country, inclusive of the Constitution and statutory instruments number 13 and 14 of 16 November 2002, local council elections will be expected to be by district block representations approved.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think those are the 7 main rulings that he made.
Okay. Now, with respect to Okawara here, and with respect to, I think the main thing Mr. Mangot and I have been discussing, and so please, I may be asking you to elaborate on that. Do we have 38 and 38A, 2 sections?
Yes, we do. Yeah, 38. Okay, just to clarify, 38 was the original clause, nine have been the original clause in the Constitution. And within 38A, 1, the country will be divided into constituencies. And when it's divided into constituencies, you get a system when a 1 member, 1 constituency. Yeah?
Yeah.
So now that 38A say, where we go call first past the post.
Okay.
38A say, when the argument come, 38A say, the condition for bringing 38A is 1, if they don't announce a general election, the date, which they may not do, the president may not do. If there are no existing constituency, right? And if there are no existing constituency, then the president, where he consults the chairman of the ECSL or the ECSL commissioner, can advise that we use the PR system and the first past the post. Now the main thing than that. Waiting the judge say, the plaintiff then look in isolation. They not look the two, say one relates to the other. Because the argument they say, well, the condition, yes, they agree, say, election be done, but then get existing constituency. That existing constituency, which the judge then differ. And why the judge then say they not get existing constituency? It's because the constituency gets now, they agree, say, member of parliament, they appoint them under this constituency system. But how you they determine constituency system? It means say they get for use the latest census data. Now, and I remember that too, the latest census data. The last census have been 2015. And the constitution also say census na every 10 years. Either for old census, the statistics alone. But the power we then give statistics alone under the own Act of Parliament, it say the president can advise them for do a midterm census. So the argument is that the midterm census now take precedence over the last census 2050, which creates the existing constituency. And this midterm census, some area don't get beaucoup people them, then you don't get a shift. So it will be unfair for use the existing constituency system based on that new last census result for now do the next thing. Waiting them for do now, waiting them call boundary delimitation. Waiting boundary delimitation mean? It means say, then go look at the population shift and then decide, say, some constituency, some area don't get some district. Look at district now. Because in a district block system in the talk. Because you know, so we get 16 districts in the country. Some districts don't get more population. So then forget more constituency. Then some don't get less population, then forget less constituency. So if we remember that census day, we will get draw panel. The opposition been say, let people not do the census, illegal. But last stress and back, the existing law make provision for midterm census. So when they look at the other argument, they say, oh well, Kenema district, not Kenema town, get more population than Freetown. So people then begin to say, how that they go be? So long and short of it, now that census figures and they then for use for create, for review the constitution and some area will get more, some will get less.
All right,
So
Mr. Mengo.
The commissioner say, well, he don't get time for do that. Because if you want to do that, it will take long because the president don't already announce the date of election. And if then they go by the ECOWAS protocol on good governance and democracy, it says no member states not for change the law for election within 6 months for that election day. So the commissioner, they say, well, if I want to do them, they take me time, we go eat into that 6 months, then it's not going to be legal. So then that will be the argument then.
All right. Mark, we just thank you so much for the information and the analysis we did tell you so far. Now, some of the things then, as me, you can discuss, will concern me because we know there was controversy in terms of which and go adopt whether or not the district block system or whether the proportional representation system, and we know say we don't go all the way to the Supreme Court. Number one, I am not clear, nor am I convinced that the decision of the Supreme Court deals with the finality of the issue of which law, not the law of the land. It's only clear that the Supreme Court say, for this moment, for this upcoming election, because I think the question presented to the Supreme Court was whether it was basically illegal, illegitimate for the commissioner for, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mengo, because I'm subject to correction, whether the commissioner was right or would be right in trying to adopt the proportional representation system going into this election. And so then the Supreme Court, it seems to me that was a question presented, listening to the Chief Justice. So the Chief Justice or the court answered the question that it was nothing ultra-virus or illegal or illegitimate with adopting the proportional representation, then again, elaborate reasons for why that is so. But we also know, say, there are concurrent laws, section 38A and 38, correct, sir?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Both of which coexist, neither of which have been outlawed. So it's like an
They're
election
both,
of
you get two systems, they're both legal.
both of them legal.
Although there are
So
conditions, this way to use either.
yeah. So it looks like by implication, if it's not expressly said, that the electoral commissioner or the electoral commission has the option of choosing which one to go by and then choose the proportional representation. Number one. I heard the Chief Justice they say, and that to me sounds like a contradiction, but again, it might be me or misunderstanding. The Electoral Commission is not subject to any person's directives. Well, in a way, it sounds correct until we hear him saying again, then the president give directives to the commission about which way to go. So I'm not so sure if it's a contradiction or if it is not. But the point I'm trying to make here, I don't think the law, this decision is final in the sense that the issue still remains. Should these two sections be allowed to coexist, or should one of them be nullified? Should 38A be the section we go by, or should we still leave 38 and 38A to coexist, which to me is bad is bad legislation. Now,
Okay, let me explain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And you go back to the argument of the plaintiff and waiting the judge then say. The plaintiff then go back in history. So now go for people and for understand how this PR system come. Go back in history. The first time where we get a PR system was in 1996, where we move from a military government to a civilian government. And during the military government, there was a suspension of the constitution and all political parties. So we will not get political party them in there under the shadow, but they were not allowed to operate. Then the constitution not be there in force because under military government, then they rule by decree. So that's the difference. Then the war's done. So some area been there not be safe. So waiting and decide in 1996, when they bring the PR system. Now for say, okay, now let us take the vote of the whole country. So the whole country was like one constituency. See them, we vote for them.
Yeah, that would be what you call the popular vote.
Okay. The popular vote. The percentage vote they get, according to how they divide it, now that number of seats that the party they get. So each party list of preferred candidates. Let's say for each district, as we go say area, let's say they get 10 lists. So in a priority, number 1, number 2, number 3. So if they get 10 lists in a 10 constituency, but they only win 5, they get figure we win 5 seats. So now the first 5, 9 they go to parliament. Now that system they 9 bring even APC not been get much seats. So now that they happen. Then we continue. But then since then there be a contingency measure. Then they bring her into law. That was when 38A coincided for the 2002 election. We now then go to a district block system. The district block system simply means when you don't get the total population of the district, you get a threshold. Let's say 10%. If you win 10%, you get 1 seat. You're not saying 10 seats. If you win 20%, you get 2 seats. So that's how the district block system come in. So you get a party list there. So it then at the law. But there is the problem. So we get to see. A lawyer friend from me tell me, say, then kind of law agency, the way they draft them, if it's a time limit, what they call sunset clause, for who state it will apply to. But that's in the law. it was left open. So because it was left open, the next election, the choice of President Kabawe be the incumbent in 2007, back to the district, to the single first past the post, right? Because that time we don't get the first census. Before that 2000, I think that census have been 2005. So they'll be able to get census, get constituency, and allocate constituency. Now for the 2007 election. Then they continue till the 2012. They use the first past. The next election, when at 2015, now that time they will get the 2018, now that time they will get the 2015 census, which means then change the constituency then. And not something was done, which I don't think should have been done, where they create districts, Farine and Calabar. And the creation of them Farine and Calabar, now increase the number of seats. So that was what happened, which they then cried foul. So when you left then two systems here, let's go forward now. And what did the judge say? The plaintiff them, because they introduced the district block system under laws. But when they were in the electoral laws, they kick against it. They change. You can forget 2/3 majority. But then the speaker remind them, say discuss them, because okay, let's fast forward. Let's say the next government will come, not to this government then, 8% in 2015, in 2025, because it will be 10 years after that first 2015 census, where the constitution say every 10 years. So if they do that census day, then go in a power till 2028. So if they do the census in 2025, back to the first past the post. So that out of that, we get for revisit the two clauses them, and that was what the judge then said. Say the plaintiff them, if they're not being, when they may not introduce an electoral laws, if they insist say you not possible, and the speaker don't advise say the president get right after consultation with the ECL commissioner for bringing the PR system, then before they wait for let the statutory instrument come na the floor, then before ask for a review of section 38 and 38A, so we will get one system. So even with the decision where the Supreme Court make, we still left with a situation where another government can come and change them.
Exactly.
That's my explanation.
Yeah, well, this is so this now one problem where the country gets where we really get for deal with. So the Supreme Court's decision recently, as sound as it may be, doesn't solve the problem for future problem. And we see what happen at parliament or parliamentarians then result to violence, all as a result of conflicting laws them, we exist where we lawmakers them for try for avoid. So now this I want to ask you a question on the delimitation, boundary delimitation. Do I understand you to say what is that based on? Because I'm still struggling with this idea of creating districts. Now we get 16 districts. If the census and the creation of new districts are interwoven or they're related, we run the risk of not in the long term, but in the nearest term or future, we may end up with 20, 30, 40 districts because it seems to me that is all up to the manipulative power of the party
Okay,
in
hold your
power.
thoughts there, Mr.
It is
Shillong.
very
Let's give
risky.
people in the
Yeah.
background.
All right.
Hold your thoughts. Let's give people in the background why it was created. You see, even though in Odede, we get what we call now we lawmaking statutory instrument. Statutory instrument now a secondary legislation, but it therefore relates to either the constitution or an act of parliament. So waiting them in do the last term, in not only creating more constituency, then lay down a statutory instrument for create the new district. And the way they make that provision for that statutory instrument, it means when the government of the day lay a statutory instrument in parliament as an extension to a law or an amendment, you can debate them, parliamentarians they can debate them. And here lies the problem. But for letting the one that we know wants that statutory instrument, for letting throw them out, then they forget a 2/3 majority. When looking at the composition of the parliament over time, we not ever get a situation where one party get 2/3 of the seats. So it will get for be horse trading. So with that now, if there were debate, if that 2/3 majority not come, then after 21 days, it becomes law. And when it be a law of the land, you cannot change it unless parliament. And the judge used that in the decision. Because let's go back to the petition of the plaintiff. One of the two they ask, now for throw out statutory instrument 13 and 14, where this particular government use for bring the PR system, talk by independent candidates, and then tin and day. Right?
Yeah.
Which the Supreme Court cannot in that. But after 21 days, it don't become law. So if it become law after 21 days before they determine the case, it means waiting this present government do is in accordance with the law. Because the statutory instrument, they don't become law. My suggestion with that, it gives away, it go back to the 1991 Constitution. That's rule for statutory instrument that you can only throw them out if you get 2/3 majority, and then it becomes law. It is a recipe for give successive government, and you also get powerful executive, for use that statutory instrument system for pass any law against the wishes of the people and against the wishes of parliament. So that is one area we're still left with in a limbo.
No, I agree. In fact, in terms of the statutory instrument, as a practical matter, like you say, he had forget 2/3 majority, either by the opposition or the other side. So it looks like to me it was meant to be that way to put the opposition at a disadvantage, even if they are opposed to the proposed legislation. Not so? Because what we call the statute,
Definitely.
yeah, because
Because
they
if we
don't
go
say
back
the
in
other.
history,
Yeah.
the SLP, when we were in opposition, they opposed that statutory instrument we create Farine and Calabar. But it went through because in opposition, they could not get 2/3 majority for overturn them, so it becomes law. So fast forward this time, they were self-opposed and the opposition, who are the plaintiff. But definitely, they don't get the 2/3 majority for throw them out, so it becomes law. So by the time the judge and they decide in case, then court down as the law of the land. So it means waiting the ECL commissioner do on the advice and direction of the president is within the legal framework and the laws of the land. So that's the technicality. So the problem is, how will they approve statutory instruments in parliament?
And it looks to me that the way it is set up, it's always a given that the opposition will never ever get the requisite two-thirds majority for prevent any statutory instrument from becoming law, because they're not going to get the two-third majority. Isn't that right? So when it is proposed and it is
You're definitely
presented,
right, and
yeah,
it goes back to the drafting of the 1991 Constitution, where we give enormous power to the president, whichever president. So with them powers, and they will give president. If president will introduce something as a law of the land through the statutory instrument process, based on the composition of the parliament, it will go through, because you wouldn't have two-thirds of the MPs there for opposer.
correct.
So that's the situation we find ourselves.
And besides, it looks a little awkward in the sense that it looks like it should be the other way around. When a legislation is suggested, is suggested or proposed, it looks to me that you should have the two-thirds majority for make it become law. Not to force shift that burden into the opposition, saying, "I then forget two-thirds majority for make it not to be law, to become law."
Yeah.
But this is how it sounds like. Then switch it around.
But let me tell you another issue again before you go.
Yeah.
Ordinary act of parliament, right? It needs a simple majority, which means it's easy for pass an act of parliament
than it is to oppose them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's senseless, because you see, and to me, it's devious. It's not done in good faith. That such a law was being proposed as a means of giving one party, particularly the party in power, that is responsible of drawing that constitutional requirement there, an edge or an undue advantage over the other party, but was not done in the best legislative interest of the country. Because if they were serious,
Yeah.
it should be, the proper way should be, if simple majority is the order of the day, so let it be. And if there is opposition, you want to gather on opposition and oppose whatever is being proposed. But if there is objection, I don't know how, if simple majority don't pass them, the people who object to the law will be able for Ghana two-thirds majority for oppose them, and the 21-day requirement. I know to understand the genius of that, other than bad faith intent. I don't think that's been done in good faith, because.
But before you go, somebody post something. He said it is still laying there, and the SLP doesn't want to adopt it simply because the president is very comfortable with the one-party constitution. What you are saying here? It's 5 years and nothing has been done to reduce the powers of the president. Definitely, not only. Let's not be partisan here. Not only president, Noah reduce them. With constitution, let's look at the different terms they would attempt for review the constitution. The first was under NPRC, and President Kaba was the review committee. That was in preparation for a return to civilian rule. The NPRC government by then, of which Bio, the present president, was prominent there, because he later took over as leader, refused to accept the recommendation of that committee, which was led by Kaba, who became president. The second term, even when Kaba himself came to power, he brought in Dr. Peter Tucker, for a look at constitutional review. It did not go through. The third time, when they do it, was under the Justice Cowan Commission, under APC. And some of these issues about the executive power, in fact, not just executive power. When we talk about government, we talk about the three arms of government. So long not limited to executive power. Right? You get the executive led by the president and the ministers and agencies. You get the judiciary led by the chief justice. And then you get the legislature. Right? So in the constitution now, there is no separation of powers. So we need a constitution where these three arms of government, one no go encroach on the other. So we don't get so many attempts. The last one, this recent one, where this government do. But then say, in the constitution, you get two kind of types of sections in the constitution. You get what they call entrenched clause. Entrenched clause now, clause the way you can only change them through a referendum. The other one, you can amend them, right? Not through a referendum, but through a two-thirds majority. I'll give you an example of that what will happen. Because the constitution called for the death penalty in 1991. But we all know saying that we know right. The world over then but when they amend them, then they reject them. But when they amend our constitution, both sides agree on that. So it sailed through. It was not controversy, and it was not an entrenched clause. But if it's an entrenched clause, like things to deal with the power of the executive, right, then it has to go through a referendum. What other countries have done, like Kenya and other African countries, where we get the same problem, rather than begin look which clause is entrenched, which one you can do through an act or whatever, or amendment, they did a whole review, the entire constitution, get everybody involved, bring experts from Kenya side, constitution, and go into a referendum. And when they go into the referendum, the people voted for against the new constitution as opposed to the old constitution. And the people voted in favor of. So that's how they were able to adopt their new constitution, which changed the governance system in Kenya. And that is what we should do, rather than cherry picking certain sections. Because when they did the 1991 constitution, we are moving from a one-party state to a multi-party state. So they retain two things. And I'll give example. The enormous power of the executive. In fact, in relation to other arms of the government. For instance, example, the president, now they appoint the clerk of parliament. So if they're independent, why should the president appoint the clerk of parliament? Same car with judges. Now the president they appoint. Kenya get a judicial service commission. President they appoint, and that commission they appoint. Then all the president do, it go by the recommendation of the commission. But in one case, certain position and we're supposed to be get security of tenure, like the bank governor, the ACC commission and everything, right? Now, as it pleases the president. So that is where the problem is. Then they also retain some of the powers of the political party, and are in two issues, right? One, in Uda get right for stand as a candidate for president. So in Sierra Leone, look at the anomaly. I could stand as a candidate for an independent as an MP, but I cannot stand as an independent for president unless I'm put forward by a party. Then you get that obnoxious clause 77 of the Constitution, K, where say, if your party expel you and write to the speaker, you automatically lose your seat in the parliament. Okay. So it means that way the people of the country will vote you, they not get rights because they don't vote you, but the party can grab you. So these are the controversies in our constitution. We make a case for a complete root and branch review of the constitution.
Well, indeed, because you see, this again, I have the utmost respect for we bookman and we intellectuals them. I am not convinced that this current law, as you state them, the electoral laws, they are constitutional laws, were done by people who didn't know any better. Because it seems to me a lot of the things that you're pointing out don't make much sense at all. Let me start off with, because I get my own view on this census, and please just make a note so you can address all of it. I get my own exception to the requirement for the 10-year census and the midterm census. And I've always maintained the position. And then we'll just talk just now about entrenched clauses, and then clauses or in the Constitution that can be changed or modified in Parliament without referendum. And these are all recipes for problem. First of all, every clause, based upon my understanding of the Constitution, and by no stretch of the imagination do I consider myself an expert or someone who is even vast in constitutional law. But I do know when something is written in the Constitution, that of itself makes it entrenched. You don't just change whatever is written in the Supreme Court by going to Congress or Parliament and try to just do some amendment. It doesn't work like that. Every clause or every requirement or every entrenched clause has to be changed by referendum, as long as we deal with the Constitution. So I have difficulty, and I don't even think it's good law, when you get a 10-year requirement that every 10 years there should be census. Then they also turn by legislation saying, however, the president can conduct a midterm census purely left with his discretion if he chooses to. Not only does that contradict and undermine what is in the Constitution, but I think that's bad law. It should have been challenged. That the Parliament should not have the power to have created that section that gives the
Mr.
president.
Sheila, let me make a point. Right?
Go ahead.
Let me make a point. Yeah? Now go back to the primary purpose of conducting a census. Now do we start first?
Yes.
The primary purpose of conducting a census, which was what we were told when they introduced this midterm census, because we get a midterm development plan. They say you cannot institute a midterm development plan where act for development, distribution of resources and all that in it without a census. Which, yes, I agree with. If when they put that, they say, well, that census the way they conduct midterm should not be used for electoral purposes, that would have been perfect.
Yeah,
but because that was not made clear, and under the we process, they say if you want to do boundary delimitation, right, and create constituency, you have to relate to the latest census. And that is what the judge referred to. The latest census in our own case, right, was the midterm census. But I'm telling you another interesting thing for see how these people in the play with remind. Now go the PR census, the PR system. Because under the district block system, where you don't get the total population per district, now that time you divide, you just put the threshold. But what in the ASL Commission will do, and it's on record, anybody can challenge me on that, is that for count the aggregate figure for the district block system, where they get for use, they use both the 2015 census, which they say was not right, and the midterm census, and do an average for create that. So what does that tell you?
Well,
so on the one hand, they say you cannot use the 2015 census because of change in population. But when you bring the district block system, for now show how it go operate and come to the figure we go allocate per district, use the average of two. Both 2015 and the midterm census.
Well, all it does is bad draftsmanship, is poorly written laws, and it creates problem down the road. Way foreseeable. You can see the problem down the road. It's not unanticipated. NIMEC, I believe, say these laws are written with a clear intent of giving advantage to the party in power, but gonna then write the laws. And this is the irony of it all. Because, like somebody just comment where you say somebody comment just now, I sent a written comment. I mean, the laws are there, so everybody, every president in power, they try for take waiting, then they deal with it, then they apply the law piecemeal by piecemeal, depending on what's advantageous to them, and leave out what is not.
Exactly.
So if we see this, what we need to do is to come with a comprehensive plan. We not give much discretion or any discretion to the president. I contend, and anybody can disagree with me. The issue or the idea of midterm census, purely what midterm census period, let alone in the discretion of the president, should be abolished. There should just be one census. If it's 10 years, 10 years, regardless of what the purpose might be. Because if we left that discretionary idea there to the president that when he feels he could conduct midterm, I mean, which president wouldn't use that to his advantage and to the detriment of the country? In fact, a president will be a fool if you are in power and you probably say you can use it to your advantage and let it go. So I don't think it's a good thing. I think the midterm census, therefore, look carefully into it and try to abolish that. They will just get one legislation or constitutional requirement for census. But if they want midterm census, if they're so bad they think it's necessary, well, put it in a referendum. But you're not going to make one thing through legislative act of parliament and make it law, which is in contradiction or opposition to the constitutional requirement of 10 years, every 10 years. So I got a little problem with that. Now, there are so many bad laws than what would the right over. Like this idea about if you're not run under a political party, you cannot run as an independent for the presidency. But if you run for any other office, you can run as an independent other than the office of the president. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can run as a ward councillor. You can run as a mayor or chairperson. You can run as an MP for independence. And independence, you can be independent and run for then 3 offices, then 3 positions, but not for the presidency.
And I wish they could tell us waiting at the genius in that. Yeah. Waiting at the rationale that a single person, because in the United States, we get choice. You can run as an independent for the presidency. And you can run under
was it Ross
Yeah, Ross Perot, indeed. Yeah. And almost came close to winning. Yeah, Ross Perot, indeed, from Texas. He ran as an independent. And in fact, beside Ross Perot, we've had there was a very prominent lawyer. I don't know why I can't think of his name. Also ran as independents when Gore and Bush be run.
Yes, I remember him.
Yeah, and he took so he affect the outcome because then say most of the votes that we get will have gone to the Democrat. It caused Al Gore for lose. Now part of the reason, and we also I'm not sure in subsequent presidential election or the independents they run. I don't know why I'm forgetting this. Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
Yes, Ralph Nader was a very prominent public interest lawyer who made so many changes in the best interest of the population in the country. Some of the privileges and safety they enjoy today, that was mostly by Ralph Nader and group. So he was so fed up with the system, he said he's neither a Democrat nor a Republican because he sees both parties as one and the same. Just like I can say about APC and SLPP. And then he ran as an independent. So it would be good for let people and tell the public what is so harmful waiting na the compelling state interest where you go make you not for run as an independent for the presidency. I think they shouldn't just say you can't run, because some people have strong personality. Some people,
Mr. Shilon, let's
some,
flash back to another legislation where them one passed recently, where borders on that.
okay.
Because of course we all know, say, this local government. You remember there was a time when they come out, it was discussion, like cabinet paper, where the local government minister been say, if you want to be a mayor or chairperson, you get to be a degree holder.
Which is ridiculous. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to be a ward councillor, you get to get school living certificate. And I remember presenting in one program to say, okay, if you bring that into consideration, you now affect other things in terms of equal opportunity and equal justice. Because for being an MP, what are the criteria? One, you get to be in the voters register, right? You get to be a voters register. You know, for a member of the armed forces or judges or anything and they. But in terms of competence, they say you get to
be of a certain age also, right?
Yeah, certain age. But listen, the controversial side. You get to be able to be competent in English, reading and writing English. But how do you test the competence of somebody in terms of written and oral English? You just have to listen to the current debate in Parliament. Then you can make a judgment for yourself. So some of us pointed that out, that it will be unequal. How can you ask a mayor or chairperson to get a degree before you go stand, right? While the president, for stand for president, you don't need them. So we went on here, some of us wrote on it, and it was thrown away. And I'm sure people will recall that. So these are some of the issues we are talking about. Again, it borders also on that Tusim issue. When I'm in prominent in the last election involving even Kanda Yunkela with them in go court. And let me show you the controversy of the Tusim issue. Right?
Yeah.
I am Mr. Mengo. Yeah. Born in Sierra Leone. Right? I don't care England. I acquire British citizenship. Some of us not by desire, but circumstances. But put it this way: my child born in England, who probably may never have set foot in Sierra Leone, because it benefits from dual nationality, because me being a Sierra Leonean and also him born in England, he is eligible to stand as an MP because he did not acquire his citizenship by naturalization. So it means me picking the way born now, then get dual nationality.
Even though they have no yeah, indeed. Even though they have no political base. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't.
Exactly.
So these are some of the things we're talking about.
And
then extend back to the other issue. When we get the dual nationality, which they not change, they're not changed down there at all. When we get the dual nationality, it means as a dual national, I'm entitled to vote. But I cannot be voted for. Because the last election, I go to and register, I get my electoral roll, I can go vote. And one of the criteria say, for stand for parliament, I get for the electoral roll. Even though I'm in the electoral roll, I cannot qualify because of that section they will say, right? As a dual national, I'm not entitled for stand for as an MP. So you see, if we dig deeper into the Constitution, There are so many anomalies. Some people are disadvantaged. Then I come back to one more one, where people in the jubilate. Now this gender empowerment bill, when they talk about 30% for go to women, then that's fine. We're not there against women, right? But the constitution still talk about equal opportunities. You know, go disadvantage somebody. So if me a man, I want stand election, right? Then 30% don't go to women. Then I'm not favored in the other 60%. It means because they make that arrangement, they say 30% for go to woman, then I'm out. I'm being disadvantaged.
I don't think
So
it's
this is how
constitutional.
people look at this thing.
But
Yeah?
I don't think that law is constitutional. I don't
Why?
think it is.
The
This
gender
30%.
empowerment bill?
Yeah. I think it can be challenged because it disadvantages certain group of people. We're going through that in this country all along, even now. When they try to give equal opportunity, you have to be very careful and meticulous how you pass those laws. Even in this country, minority certain seats for admission at universities for certain group or certain minority, it's always continually being challenged because it's a very sensitive issue. I think
but we have people in Salone now who are glorifying this one, say, oh, the president has done so well, they don't pass this gender empowerment bill.
It's bad
and
law.
let me complain. Let nobody no feel to say, I don't want follow empower women. But when we make some of these laws, we get to look at how does this law relate to certain parts of the constitution. When at the first part of that constitution, we go cluster say citizenship, right, duties, and obligation. We say one section, you don't go discriminate somebody against somebody because of gender, religion, or those sort of thing. How does this one relate to that?
Well, you see, they just put it in there because they took it from other constitution. They don't ever think about the implication. They don't think about the interpretation. They don't think about the application. But when it comes to applying that law is only as good as it remains unchallenged. But if any group decides for whatever reason for go to court and challenge the constitutionality of it, you will find out it will be stricken because it will not go meet constitutional muster because we are dealing now with not competence, not fitness, not readiness. It's strictly based on number. Like we have a certain number to fill. So even if you don't get the requisite number of people, you're still going to have to do numbers. And I think in the long run, it will work.
Hold on, Mr. Shilon, we have one caller on the line. Can the control room put on that caller for us? Control room, can we have the caller?
Yeah. Hello, caller. What's your name? What's the call from? Hello, caller. Caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. What's your name? What's the call from? Is the person still on the line, control room? Because we're not getting any feedback. Hello, caller.
If we're not.
Okay, well, we'll continue. If the person wants, he can call back. Yeah. So,
I think control room can alert us when they've got in touch with the person.
Yeah. So now we are all jubilant about our Law Day, but we'll not look at the ramification. We'll not look at the effect. We'll not look at. I think these are some of the things, and these are popular things. Now I don't.
Yeah, the person don't come on.
Is the caller back on the line? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, sir. What's your name? Outside the call from?
Are you referring to me? My name is Abdullah, and I'm calling from New Jersey, US.
Hey, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Abdullah. Go ahead.
Oh, thank God. Thank you very much. I want first start for say, this is not one of my best shows that I watch, and kudos to Mr. Salone and Mr. Mengot. I hope I've pronounced that name correct. This is one of the best.
Yeah, you're right.
Looking at two eloquent Sierra Leoneans giving their genuine opinion as far as I am concerned on the issues. Always some of we don't say President Bion is a good man as far as I am concerned. From your personal opinion as an individual, he's good. And I know most of the mistakes them way they do, they come from bad advice they really get from other people. But here is the fact. Mr. President Bion run on the pretext of charting the country in a new direction. That new, my hope, was better direction from the previous. The one unfortunate thing really happened today, as you talk, then the clash you to one party in the scenario that you belong. But that will stop people say the right things. Now, he seemed to have a lot of appetite in attacking aspects of the Constitution with favor, either for within the time within our power or for attract attention from international donors or so. We see them things indeed happen. The repeal of the death penalty. I am all for it. I'm not like for see and kill somebody, even if that person killed. There should be a punishment who serve as something serious to other people and not for doing again. Repeal of the criminal libel law. Yeah, we see it waiting they go along with that one. They say that they don't do in black and white, but they're practically serious because people then journalists they don't even get the power in Sierra Leone for say their mind as the way they see the things. Because to say your mind on how you see issues, not necessarily means you get for cost the president. But if you say the truth, I'm not to say any sign of the Constitution, they will say, if you say President Bion make a public statement today, they'll not be like on a street and say, President Bion, you lie. I don't feel say the Constitution states any side we say a crime are commit for say the president, they say lie out of his statements we make. Except if we see Alina, they look at the president as an angel. We're not liable for making any mistake. So that not even they happen. So repeal of the criminal libel law, not just in black and white. Petition of them kinds here. Simple things as this midterm census thing, where we know as these students who don't put on, that's something we just can cause a whole lot of chaos. There was no need for it in the first place, other than for find a way for give them advantage, especially in the quest for push forward this PR system. We don't go through so. I commend the judiciary. Hey, even in America, when the judiciary make decision, it might not go in the interest of everybody, but we all get for respect them. Now the Constitution is fine, but this is bad because if we're in a situation like this, like Mr. Salone rightly say, do we say if other governments come tomorrow, if they want to find a way for bring PR system and get for conduct midterm system as and when they like, without waiting for the 10 years thing. So this now all crazy things. So end my point now, this I believe say President Bion, in as much as he work hard, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of good things he's doing right now, irrespective of the lot of ill-advised actions the way they take and make decisions the way they make. It gets a lot of good things the way they do with it in the interest of we all, especially where I see the overhead roads them and bridges when they construct. Now we're all interested. Where two is concerned, if it's something not in power tomorrow, if me APC want to go past that way, nobody know we say you know APC that President Bion build this bridge in a pass now. It then when we're all interest. But here's the situation, that thing we use for do, we're not only for better you with the 10 years in power, but for generations yet unborn. Now that's in the we as Sierra Leoneans for applaud. Actions of the one and the other will for commend. Not so that one who thinks in power right now, where you do this thing, whether you get for help with picking and small, not born it or not, we for say, oh yes, you're right. Where anybody will talk against that, we say, now because now APC they on the other side there. So unfortunate, I don't run out of time, but thank you very much again. I commend the two of you for a very great show. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. And if you have more to say, you can call back or you may call back. Thank you. We have another caller on the line. Let's go ahead and take that call. Hello, caller. What's your name? And who's trying to call from?
Hello, viewers. This is Omar. She called from Sudan.
Hello, Mr. Omar. Thanks for calling.
Okay. Mr. Shilom, we get problem in that country. We're not honest to ourselves. Some of we in them party there we see. If president lie, a lie, for tell us a lie not to cause. If somebody like you, I mean, he not talk the truth. That not to insult. When somebody not talk the truth, I mean, he lie. Then once again, we serve the people and we're not serious with ourselves. This proportional business within the talk, this proportional representation within the talk, this don't answer the constitution. Why make the parliamentarians they were responsible for amend constitution? Why make they not try for amend the 1991 constitution? And most of them try for kick them out of that book. Instead, then just left and they any president where they pick and choose what if for amend, what if they are in favor of and they amend. The way amend one law, they pick and choose. The way amend one law, then people want let them celebrate or let them worship and because they don't amend one. The criminal libel law, it overdue time for make the amender. So if the president the old one in job where they elect them for, nobody know for worship for that, nobody know for commend for that. Now that the people expect them for do. You know, let the land for do what people elect them for. The parliamentarians in that country, whether not SFPP, whether not APC, now they're not honest to we and they're not honest to themselves. You know, they just sit there and SFPP use something against APC, APC can cry. APC use something against SFPP, SFPP can cry. Why they not go make one word in a parliament? Why they not make one in a parliament? They try for review that 1991 constitution. I mean, to get better and stable constitution. You know, for the past 4 years, for the past 10 years, now the same story. So for them, I couldn't follow up again. Because I remember for where Mother be open power, the same.
I think we've lost our caller.
Yeah, we'll get technical difficulties. So he may call back. But in the meantime, Mr. Mango, if you want to address that.
I think there's another caller.
No, we don't.
Okay.
I'm just going.
Let's round up with this because I think we don't do a lot of justice to this.
On this topic, yeah.
We still want to go to the second. If a popular request, we'll continue. But let me remind somebody about this argument for and against PR. Right?
Now, may I interrupt you? We do have a caller. No, we do have a caller in order not to keep him on hold. Let me go ahead and take him.
Let him come in. Let him come on. He or she.
Hello, caller. What's your name outside the call?
Good evening again. This is Fudi Mustafa from Leicester.
Hey, Mr. Mustafa, thank you for calling.
Me before the ruling, I know say na so it be. It's not a surprise. It should have been a surprise if they talk otherwise, because the judiciary, even the time where they be sacked Sam Sumana, there was a clear clause where it say now the parliament now they for removal from office with the 2/3 majority. The parliament not do them, they go to the court, demand they take the hit them, say, yeah, that's what it did. And this is another example, today will not happen so. Because we don't have to be lawyers to understand, say, this then talk say, we get 38 and 38A. If the electoral commissioner, when they pay plenty money, he not able make constituencies them, that's not business, so they will hold them accountable for that because they don't pay you for do something. You know, can't use them say, okay, I'm able to make it. Why didn't you? Why you know that they pay you for that? That's why you have been paid. So now if the courts then go sit down, they take the agency, yes, that hit A1, now in the whole liar. But me want to lawyer, I know say they say we for make election by constituencies. But where there are no constituencies, and they even make about so clear, say the constituency have a 5 to 7 years span. And the same court talks say those things that they expire at the dissolution of this parliament. How we go believe that when they don't put the law say that between 5 and 7 years, who 7 years not reached it? Which thing will tell me say now this not the convincing fact, say it don't expire. So all this point to the fact that we they talk about our constitution, say, oh, the president, but nobody not get the mind for take the bold step for make this for take the recommendations the way they make for that past constitutional review. Because Kenya, we will talk about so let's not get the same one party constitution, but they no say they for change them. The president was bold enough to take the powers from the president. This president will pass to Kenya. He been want do all those things. The court they tell her no, 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 no. Because you don't get no hands in the court. So these people, Alexa, they talk say President Buna white man, they go to that court today. The lawyer they go talk say yes, this man a white man. We all go see and say a black man, but they not get the balls for talk say no. This man not this man not white man, this man a black man. Na lie, they not go talk am. Simply for the fact that the president empowers them too much. This is so clear. We don't go talk about other things, the advantages of constituency or proportional representation, because if they want to count argument there. The president shows there's so much powers in that country. See, if they talk back and take the power again, they give to political party. Hey, bo, this is not a one party dictatorship. Now they come so. Because certain people indeed they get all those things, anything they want, then they get anything they want, then they get that. We don't go try address the main issue when at the constitution, when I get the problem there. And then we all go see judges, them where they pay plenty money. We get, the human beings, they go to school, they learn, they know what's in 1 + 1. You can't sit down, bend the law, you expect people to respect you. Ladies, I don't understand them, how these people, they go look at themselves with their dignity, say, me and their family, in a good school. But yet, this thing, we will interpret them the way the thing they on paper. They say, 1 minute, just Okay.
Right.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Okay, Mr. Mengo, let me take a crack at this before you do. Mr. Mengo, let me just take a brief crack at this. Okay, I agree with you in a lot of ways. Okay.
I think I see another one in the line.
Yeah. But let me just address
on the line.
Let this person hold. 1 second, let me come in and a quick one. I agree with you for everything you say. But bear in mind that these laws that we're talking about, they were not drafted by BO. It's just an incidental beneficiary. It's not by the BO regime. It's the outgoing regimes them where set the bad foundation. And just BO is becoming just a beneficiary of bad laws. So we have to remember that. 2, this proportional representation and this district block system, to me understanding, and Mr. Mengo will shed more light on it. The reality is we have 2 existing laws. We get a proportional representation, we get the district block, both of which are under 2 different sections and both of which are not supplement of each other. They are coexisting laws. What you see the Supreme Court do now will make the job easy. Then just pick which law, go cover them, and supportive of the current government. And I can't blame them. Because now the way we do, instead of try for outlaw or try for co-join them, we'll not do that. We left the 2 laws, then they go parallel. So it seems to me the Supreme Court just give the Electoral Commissioner the power to just elect which section they want to go by, and then go by. So they are saying the legislature, the commissioner has not done anything inappropriate or illegal. That's my understanding. But I turn it over to Mr. Mengo because I think the caller. Oh, we will get a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name?
Let's take this caller, then we can come back.
Hello, Mr. Umar again. Call this number.
Okay, Umar. You will get disconnected.
Okay. What we try for talk? Some of you don't tire with this whole issue. Let me follow up again, Salone, because every day that the same thing. For instance, this energy where APC they put so for fight against certain laws, why they come together as a political party in a parliament for make them table at least the 1991 constitution, let them discuss that. You see, all this what they do now, the interest, they're not getting nothing when the people have interest. Now, when they say this one, whether they do, maybe it go deter them from make them not kind of power and they make them go to court. But other than that, they're all hypocrite, because if they're not being hypocrite, let them try for change the 1991 constitution. Then get enough people in our parliament to go at least debate the constitution. Why make them not use that? So now we now the land just left with the owner in a hypocrite. SLPP by APC by the owner is just hypocrite. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mengat, you can go ahead.
Yeah, okay. The points what I make is I want to be futuristic. Because people then they talk say, you get people them where they talk say PR system is very good. Right? Then give several reasons. Say, well, they go stop fet, like APC go get MPs in a SLPP stronghold, SLPP go get MPs in a APC stronghold. But let me warn with people them, one of the TYC, we don't know they take into consideration. Everything is left in the hands of the party. The people they know they decide who are the candidate. And what would happen? Right? It means, and some of we brother in the diaspora, they favor them. Why? Because we get a lot of people in the diaspora, we want to go back, go be MP, where they go be significant. And they get deep pockets compared to the one in a tongue. All you get for do, now for go put heavy money to the party coffers. So they top of the list. You understand? Also, you get some people that way, now party vuvuzela them, where they talk for the party, the one the way they select who that in at the list, we don't do for them. Before even PR under the constituency system, people and they go bribe their way for get symbol. Where people they don't know. So this district boss system and this thing about list and everything, it not solve the problem. It compound the problem of not having a fair, transparent, and representative election. If I was advising, based on my knowledge of governance and parliamentary affairs, what they should have compelled each party for do. Now for let them hold primaries. So the
Precisely.
people that select,
Precisely.
they hold primaries, the people that select who
What do they want?
they choose, now so you go feature na the list. But if you left them back to the party, we will have rogues in parliament, we will have people who don't have any clue about the system of governance in Sierra Leone. Just like what you get now, you get the one where they sing like how we get parliamentarian. And I go wait for talk about the behavior of parliamentarians. Because me and Maui, when session they go on, you get people and they give running comments, cross-talking. And the one who been beat me the last time, for God's sake, when you're in parliament, you all get mic. They all get mic. It's very sensitive. If you are not speaking, turn off your mic. It's just like when you attend Zoom meeting. Because Zoom coming under this COVID thing. Then they tell you plain. In fact, the way they control the meeting itself, they block all man. You know, they allow you for talk. You don't need parliament who have been listen to even the last debate. You hear a parliamentarian loudly na telephone. Somebody they can't find them. If they talk. But let the man go call security. Tell security say na me. Come on. Are these serious people? We're only talking about the president. He's just one man. But it's the crop of people we appoint for representative. That is why I'm so concerned about parliament. Because what are the role of the parliamentarians? One, now for review law and make law. Two, now for all government into account. Yeah? Three, now for work in the interest of them people. Now makes you some country then get waiting and call representations of the People's Act. Where they go represent you people them, you get certain obligation to the electorate. And also the electorate themselves, they don't understand the role of parliament. Especially in the regions. Because they feel to say, this man don't be parliamentarian. Now you get for pay school fee for Pikinen. Now you get for pay for whether they go bondo. Now they pay hospital bill. And when you take the salary of that parliamentarian, can he be able to use that? So there has to be some understanding of what parliamentarians are supposed to do, the kind of people where they represent we, and what to expect of them. So we'll not just blame the politician, we blame people. This government get boku agencies. We get one agency we call National Council for Civic Education and Development. These are the kind of people where for they go around and exchange. Then you come back, we get Peace and Reconciliation Commission. We don't create all kind of commissions. Some of them then create them, right? Before they get even the legislation in the parliament. And why did that happen? Some of them don't run. Even the NASED. And why did that happen? Because we give executive power to the president, say he can create any office. Now make sure that they create so many offices, so many duplication. Let's look at environment. Yeah, we get ministry. First we get Environmental Protection Agency, right? Then we get NPAA, National Protective Area Authority, right? Then now we don't add Ministry for the Environment. Then we got another one where they deal with disaster management. We deal with environment as well. You know? So if you look at all that, but the one that beats me most, so I will keep quiet here now the creation of the Minister for Western Region. What does that mean? What's in our mandate? Because the Western Region, the mayor, according to is the head. And it's also the seat of government where the president there. So why bring another minister? So these are things. Thank you for that comment where somebody make. They say our politicians are only interested in money. And that's true. So as we continue on this program, we will continue to educate the people like how they broke down the issue here for say, come this 2023, in a get for no, waiting in a want. So let me hang up there and left on to you. So given the time, we can continue with this or because we've been told we call our viewers and say one talk small pan this airport.
Yeah, and I think we will. Let me just supplement what Mr. Amengo said. The primary system we suggest, if we are really serious about improving the system, because what Mr. Amengo said, one word we know using corruption. The current party system, where you get the agbagbas, the big man, then where they and then get the key symbol, all it does is a foundation for corruption. Like how Mr. Amengo say, because the guy who does save money in America, in England, in Canada, Sierra Leone, where in sole intention of go home, get political influence and run, he go with a 50, 60, 70,000, $100,000. He go, he give the top guys them. He gets the symbol. You see, why get a system like that? The primary system is the best system. Look, now recently, the last wave of election in this country, a young man, 21 years old, black boy, become mayor of some city. Okay, let everybody register under which party they want for register, and make the process of who represents the people open. So if 60 people they want for run for one constituency, so be it. Somebody will emerge the winner. Because and if you're not the winner, they ain't get popular support. But we know to look at our way there. So it could be, you see, I was saying all these things, if we're really serious about taking the country to the next step and cut off all this foolishness, okay, these are the things we have to do. The current party structures are just terrible. We don't need them. We need primary system. So a young man who just left Frabe College, if he's a gifted person, he has the charisma, he has the wisdom, he has the knowledge, and he can go out there and persuade more people, and he defeats somebody, whether they're in the APC or SLPP 100 years, so be it. Now, in the people they want. No, but right now, like Mr. Mango said, now the leaders, now then the parliamentarians are not the choice so much of the people. They are the choices of the leaders of the parties there. Now that people we need to realize, and we need to fight against that. Now, You see, they say charity begins at home. If we are serious about straightening the system, we'll begin to do that. Another quick thing, because Mr. Mango talk about something. One way to look at the government, we're serious for do something better. There are some offices in order to put a country into a good footing that must be free of executive or presidential power. The office of the Inspector General, we don't say that before, we'll keep repeating it. The office of the Chief Justice, the office of the Electoral Commissioner, the office of the Auditor General, and then the office of the Bank Governor. There are 5 offices they have. One for let our country progress. We'll forget them completely out of the influence or the reach of the president or the executive. Until such time that we will get seriously take that head on, we are not going anywhere. So that said, we can talk this issue all day long, but we'll get other topic we want to touch on, we'll promise we'll touch on. So Mr. Mango, I pass on over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Fambulem, for when I listen to it. One of the things we want to talk about today, now this new airport, a lot may complain. We know they can't involve in the argument whether a new airport, whether a new terminal. That is not what we are talking about. What me go say as a professional and an expert in aviation, and somebody who started career over 46 years ago. Now that same airport, they're sitting in the control tower. So I think I have enough experience for talk about this subject. Not only that, during my career in England, Heathrow Airport, when they build the 5th terminal, I was working for Ealing Borough Council, waiting at the edge of the airport. And we, with the local government, we are concerned. Because one, for surface access, we will not consider that this airport issue. Then 2, for noise pollution. So I can say, my experience not only limited to Sierra Leone, it also extend elsewhere. So I think, say, this airport issue, we don't talk a lot about them. What I want let people and talk about now, I want to go back to why this airport come, waiting them in promissory. Right? They say President Biona talk and do. Yes. We get one Awoko man we come on the other side. We all know. In translating meaning, off of Tioyoti. Name withheld. So let's start for look at how this airport starts, what was promised, and what was delivered, and waiting at the challenges. So, I don't know if the technical team have been put some key points in, but I get a note say, okay.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay, it's on the screen. So let's take people then back in time. This airport, the agreement they have been presented to Parliament on the 16th of December 2020 for ratification. And again, it come back to going back to the Constitution, because me and man, I always like to make reference to Constitution and whatever. In fact, I hope they will call me Mr. Constitution. Because in the Constitution, section 116, it says government not for go make agreements or get loan from any other person without Parliament not approve. So they mean take this law go Parliament. So let's see what in government been promised we. Then say the reason why they bring this airport now because the passenger capacity na Lunge go reach 1 million people for year. And the current capacity na Lunge airport not go able all them people in there. So I do my research. I look what's in the current passenger capacity na Lunge airport. And I get them from a reliable source. we dey get 18,970 passengers per month. So when you look at roughly under 230,000, right? Then let's look at the airline the way they go freedom, because then talk about say we don't get a new plane, we go take big plane them, you know, and also where then big plane then go land. But now look, at the moment we get about 10 company the way they operate na Salone. Out of them 10, now only 4 na intercontinental. Where I mean intercontinental, where you fly from Salone for go Europe or America or other side. So the 4 we will get now Essence Brussels, Air Afrique, Morocco, and Turkish Airlines. Essence Brussels and Air France, then they operate Airbus. Now big aircraft then. But when we still they able accommodate now we all runway. Because we all runway, now big runway, now 3.81 kilometers. In feet, then at 12,500 feet. It can take any large aircraft. And I've been on there as a controller who land DC-10. And DC-10, when made by a Canadian company, McDonnell Douglas, is the same size as Boeing 747, one of the largest aircraft. Oh, so yeah. we are able to accommodate that. So now this, now you tell me, so now the reason that. So now look at the difference from 230,000 to 1 million. So how then can we that figure there? It come back to the laziness of parliamentarians. Because when they send them here, they know they do their homework. They go tell you, say, okay, 1 million. You know, accept. They say, oh, well, we will get more tourists. So I go around, I check the tourist figure. The tourist figure for Salone for a whole year is 71,000. And I can bet 50% of that or more. Now we the Saloneans, the way they out. Now we are the people the way they fly good. And when they also present this in the parliament, then talk say, well, then get a projection. This new airport would host, it will able to host almost 3 million people. But what did they not tell you? If not 3 million per year. Remember, from 230,000 to 1 million to 3 million. And not the airport or its sky side. Right? Then a different thing. And listen to waiting. Let me explain to you when I talk about the airport. They say, this airport now we don't cancel. It will bring jobs. Don't address the issue. Right? At the time when they present the paper to Parliament, they say during the construction stage, they go employ 2,000 Sierra Leoneans. For God's sake, look at the structure of the airport. And most of them people they know they employ, not technicians and casual laborers. You want to tell me, say, for build that structure, that you need 2,000 people, you create 2,000 jobs? I left you now for answer. See this session, I just do a question and answer, let people learn, a reality check. The next, what thing I say they go do? All what thing I promise, fine, then do it. Then construct a new terminal, a new VIP presidential lounge. Now we come to the runway. The term of parliament, they say resealing the runway. So now the same, although they say they widen them, okay, fine. But the length not increase. So then do that. Then get a new control tower. The old control tower will be 1 story. But if you now go now, I don't go this back, now 2-story. That are the control tower part. But then talk about 6-story new control tower now. When you go get the office there, and other than the day that control tower there, as far where would they? At the top, you get the air traffic controllers then. Now then they give direction for plane for land and take off, and then one day they overfly. Next, you get the telecoms people then. In the days where you are working at telecoms, I think say 30 days, you get for land Morse code. You know, because Morse code now universal. So you get with telecoms people then. Now they also then they send information. We get what you call in aviation NOTAM. NOTAM means notice to airmen. When they can send if plane they come for talk about inclement weather, yeah, for talk about diversion, if congestion in one particular airport, we get for tell the pilots where they fly. If you get problem, waiting at the alternative airport. So the next session, the next area, now the telecommunication side. They also get new cargo terminal. Fine. And when they present this case to Parliament, they say, well, Salone will be a hub for cargo. For God's sake, how can Salone be a hub for air cargo? When they call something a hub, it means that when they bring the cargo come, na Salone, you go need other means of transport for cargo and destination. But I go let you think about that. Then they bring a new car park. So waiting and puts at the plan, fine. It is there, they brought it. But how they go use them, and how it go generate employment, and how it go help people then, it's fine. And for sure, you say how we people them, we actually, they look at a small thing. Because when the minister, I get one program where they call talk to the minister. So they ask the man from transport, say this escalator, where you see so at the airport, is there any sign of Salone? Not the President Biona, the first man we bring him. For God's sake. And in fact, he even go on for tell with people them. He say, hey, one time in there, where I watch one video, where Leon Stars can go play in our country, the players then begin for them an escalator. Let me address this question to me, people them brother than the diaspora. We all work at England and America. We meet escalators, not just airport.
Everywhere.
Escalator then are short. Then they everywhere. Tell me, how many people let me teach for use escalator? Is it a novelty? In this year, we're talking about 24th century. Is that something we should be glorifying or singing about? I leave that for your answer. Now, let's go to the next one. What if people are concerned about this airport? Now, the arrangements where they make for build this airport, right? In planning time, they call them BOT. What in BOT mean? Build, operate, transfer. So the people that when they build the airports, now then they provide it. But me go make them in a clear way where you get another term where more define we own system. We call them in engineering term and project money, we call them DBM. What's in that name mean? Design, build, finance, and operate. Now we get. So the company where they bring come, Suma group of company, right? Now then design the airport. Now then they build them. Now then get for operate them for 25 years. And after that 25 years there, 9 then go transfer to the Salone government. So Mr. Schiller, you can interject whilst I'm talking. Because I take one client. So that 25-year concession. But again, when they present them to Parliament, let us show another lapse in the system. One of the ministers then, one of the MP then, I can quote him, now Honorable Roland Kagbo. He on concern that they say then give huge concession and tax waiver to this company. They never tell we waiting at the concession and tax waiver. But let go another thing I go blame with parliamentarians again. Because when they submit a proposal to Parliament for let them actually approve them, it get to be backed by technical documents then. And then documents and the one that way commercially sensitive, they can exclude them. But when it comes to financial progression, liability of it, if a backer and Parliament get for keep them as record. So any one of we can go to the parliamentary archives and see, okay, this deal where they do where they talk about so much. Does it benefit us? We get the figure. Now make sure when they put anything, are they actually do me research and explain to people them. So that's not the other issue. The airport, they say at 270. Now it costs. So it means we get for pay 270 million plus interest over 5 years, over 25 years.
Yeah.
270 million plus interest over 25 years. Now, the other thing we get controversy, put under this Suma group of company. Not a Suma we come on some because we get named in a Suma. Right? Yeah. A group of company is a Turkish company. It's a Turkish company. And that company, they're waiting on origin, which people have been deny. The original Suma group of company was Russian. It's on record. But that company, they go bankrupt. But not for tarnish the image killer one. Because some company, the parent office now can do well, the subsidiary can do better. Right? So I don't get no doubt about the efficiency and technical capacity of Suma group of company for build we airport. Right? They have the and not to Salone no more. I think say they don't build airport in Niger, they don't build airport in Senegal. So then I give them a plus. But my key question, right? And I will explain that because I do research. Now waiting now the arrangement now. How Suma group of company go fit Sierra Leone go fit into we present structure. So now, then I will talk about employment. Because then the other two will bring a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
Now, the present situation, before Suma take over, because according to the agreement we then get, they should take over the airport where they don't do 75% of the construction. Yeah? So they now exceed that. So now make sure they take over this Friday. And for tell people them, they want the way they travel go Salone. The earliest way you will see that near airport, they assess them and use them for see how you find, how you benefit in March this year. Well, one thing they not tell me, where I go rob much small pan, where I don't go to them small other airports in Africa, because last year I traveled to Abidjan, I traveled to Addis Ababa, Bora Airport, I traveled to Jomo Kenyatta Airport in Kenya, I go to Kenneth Kaunda Airport in Zambia. All the airports and they get Wi-Fi system because this is now the age of communications. The last time I traveled to Freetown's airport, we don't get that. I hope say government go make sure say Suma group of company give we free Wi-Fi. In a area back of free Wi-Fi. When I go there, if I not get it and I come back, we will talk about that.
Yep.
What's the important for get free Wi-Fi? Communication important. You can there for you want travel. Sometimes you flight delay, you want contact your family then. You go need for call them. We all they use Wi-Fi and WhatsApp. They may get one, but you get for pay for them. under the old system, and most of the time, they work. I remember one time I traveled, a fellow Salone one calling people in London. Luckily, I've been getting me dongle. I'll be able to give her access to my system for like call. He was very grateful. You know? So these are some of the things that the unknowns. Now let's look at the structure of aviation. We get the Ministry of Transport, when are the parent body. Then we get Civil Aviation Authority, right? When are the technical arm, just like I guess Maritime Authority, and so Civil Aviation Authority and the technical team. But that the Sierra Leone Airport Authority, they're responsible for the airport, for manage the whole facility. So you get two parts with the airport. You get the operational side, yeah, where I will relate down to things them how the people that where they use the airport, whether a passenger or people that where they cargo or everything. Then you get the support service when at the technical part, when at the navigation side, whether they come under the control tower, when at the key direction to plane. You get what you have been on talk again, the communication side, and whether they deal with air navigation. And what's in air navigation? Now the systems are all on ground for direct plane or for make and safe. Because if you look at the airport, the runway get for runway lights. You get people that wait for the maintainer. We get radio communication equipment. We get instruments that way the direct plane for land, like the VR. VR, what's in a VR, they call it Doppler VR, is vertical omnidirectional radio range. When they show the exact location of the airport. So even if you get overflight, when they fly, the signal they go to that VR, they show say, they fly over Salone Airport. Then you get another system where they call ILS. That's the instrument landing system. We're down there now, and they direct the plane as to which they land at the airport, because we get two ends of the runway. We get runway 12 and runway 30. So depending on the wind speed and direction, now the controller and they direct the pilot who side for land. So that aspect of the airport operation will still remain under SLAA. So SLAA will not be defunct. The other aspect, now Suma group of companies, 9 them will manage. And what's in that number there? Totally, I think say they may get 500. But this group, this new management, then they employ 400 and the right figure. I think it's about 432 members of staff. You know, so when they start, they may get for transfer, all the staff them, they may give them
termination notice.
Termination letter. So some of them, according to the government, put on the social media, say, well, they don't bring them now, then they can pull whip and job. But the government will do a press conference. They say, no, not to the case. They make it clear. And then are true, that practice. Because when they move from one employment to another, which is from SLAA to Suma Sierra Leone, they therefore terminate your contract from the one side. Then they reappoint you on the other side. So that termination of contract day, SLAA, na government agency. Now they get for pay you benefit for the one day. I don't know which kind of arrangement they make with Suma. That has not been made clear. So to date, when they give the announcement, 282 staff, they don't sign agreement. They say the rest they will sign. They will employ all the 432. But here is the catch. The 432 they employ, they say Suma will train them because a new management, they'll get structure. But they only give them 12-month contract. And when some of we ask why 12 months, but then go employ them, then train them, but at the end of that 12 months day, then go get for reassess them for see whether they're fit for the purpose and the job, which means Suma gets right for say, well, this man not meet we requirement, you can lay him off. Because according to the contract, he cannot take them to court.
Something happened to the system again? Hello? Technical room? Did the system freeze? Did the system freeze? Hello? Oh, okay. Because I was wondering what happened. Because it looked like Okay. So far, audience, Mr. Mango will get technical difficulty. We lost him, so it will reappear as soon as possible. But you can tell for say by now, he gets very good knowledge about airport operation, airport setup, and because he worked long time ago as a that's Mr. Mangot calling. Yes, sir. Mr. Mangot, what happened?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very clearly.
Yeah, because I can't hear you. You're frozen.
Oh, I am frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, but we don't see.
When a public health crisis threatens the existence of humanity, people begin to ask questions, hoping to find answers to solve these problems. The Central University, located at 1 Silicon Hills, Mile 91, Tonkolile District, Sierra Leone, presents its newly established public health department to train passionate minds in the field of public health to help humanity find answers to its many questions. We have prepared the platforms for our students to not only understand the theory related to this discipline, but to also put into practice the skills to meet the world's biggest challenge in healthcare. We have trained and dedicated staff to help our students understand and apply procedures involved in promoting healthy lifestyle, researching diseases and injury prevention, detecting, preventing, and responding to issues that affect public health. Alone we ask questions, but together we can create solutions to public health issues. Hurry today and enroll to be part of the public health family at Central University, and together let's help to discover solutions to societal problems and create a healthy, safe and disease-free lifestyle for national and global societies. Your personal passion to meet public good.
All right, sir. Continue, Mr. Continue what you were saying.
Yeah, I don't know which was the last, which not the last two in I but which have been the try for talk, Mr. Salone. We have one small the way they give them new, then people already work now. When at 12 months call then give them, and then say after that 12 months they then get for reassess them, and the one the way they feel to not meet the standard, then go lay them off. Then again, when you look at it that way, what thing you take on that?
Well, I get two concerns. Concern number one, pay wage. What are the wages? Yeah. Are they going to be in recognition of the fact? Well, first of all, are they going to be paid in dollars or in leones? Because the reason why I asked that, even though the official currency is in leones, but the airport still operates in some instances collecting dollars from people arriving and departing the airport. That so-called fee will then claim saying a security fee. And in fact, as a matter of fact, there was some airline ticket sample where you be just saying we should say there was a reason why you send that the sample of the ticket for should say we do pay airline security fee or airport security fee when the tickets are purchased. So for example, we'll get an ad at the screen where it should say, let's say you buy a ticket for Camp Sierra Leone, it spells out every detail, the breakdown of the airline ticket, what goes where, and how much. So then last week we did talk about the fact that in addition to this security fee being paid on the ticket, Lunga Airport is also charging another $25 per person arriving or departing as security fee, which is a little bit confusing. So we get that. We get. Go ahead.
So if you want to, okay, now let's go further down the line, because one of the reasons when Giwi say these airports will increase employment, I know they talk about the tourism side, no left that. But we see, say, from which I don't present now, the number will be the SLA where they go under the airport, not the same. Now less than 1,000 people. According to government, now 432. Right? Where the extra jobs will be created now for, and now they will determine now how Suma Group they make them money. Which thing they will get together. And I explain to people. First, there's a landing fee for each aircraft where they land. And from which presently, now only 10 aircraft they land at the airport. Out of them 10 then they now only 3 are 4 I will call intercontinental. We will use bigger plane. Then are SN Brussels, Air France, Air Morocco, and Turkish. The rest of them na airline we call regional airlines. We get Air Peace from Nigeria. We get Askai from Togo. We get Kenya Airways, where they do a West Africa, East Africa link. We get Air Cote d'Ivoire. We get Africa World. Then we get Group Airline from Senegal. So far, now 10 airlines they operate in the country.
Okay, let me interrupt you, sir. When you say 10 airlines they operate in the country, is this like in terms of daily takeoff and landing? Or what?
No.
What?
Some of these airlines, they land twice weekly. Not to
so
the all they
good.
land. Yeah. Because things say Air Morocco and the airlines they get season. Sometimes they can get 1 flight a week or 2 flights a week. But there is no airline. The airline the way they run regularly, I doubt if not every day. The one that we would likely land every day. Now when Togolese airline, where they serve the West Africa route, like Air Peace. Even Kenya Airways are shorting about 2 to 3 flights a week they get. So that's the schedule. Okay,
so on average, it's fair to say at the moment we get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4 landings a day in total on average of
roughly
airlines.
4 to 5 landings.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
2, compared to the past, can you give us a listing, if you have them in front of you, if you have that information there, of previous airlines before? How many airlines there will be the gateway to landers and Sierra Leone and Lunga Airport compared to now?
Well, I've been listed the last time. Now we have 10. I think in the time I was there, you have close to 14 airlines. and more
Okay.
transcontinental airline. Because what I mean transcontinental, now airline the way they come out Africa, go either the Middle, Europe, or Asia, or North America. But we say technically the number of airlines operating in Sierra Leone from 79 who are left to now has not increased.
As a matter of fact,
I'm comfortable.
they've declined. They declined instead of, they definitely not increase,
I would
and in fact,
say,
they
increase is roughly almost the same on average.
okay.
So it's
Well,
it's not only the number of airlines, but the frequency of landing.
that's true,
So
because the
for
reason
instance,
why
if you get
I
airline
want to
with a Salone every day,
okay, because in the past we used to have Air Afrique, we used to have
yeah,
I think we used to have what you call the American airline. You know, they do Panam. Yeah,
Panam.
Panam used to come to Sierra Leone. That is so. We also used to have
Most of the time going
we used to have Ghana Airways.
Monrovia.
We used to have, say that again.
Well, if you take continental airlines, not just talk about continental airlines in the past.
Yeah.
Now, when they likely to use bigger aircraft. So you
Yeah.
can get British Caledonian, UTA from France, Lufthansa from Germany, Czechoslovakia Airlines from the Republic, Aeroflot, Cubana Airline, you know. So in other words, KLM. So if
Panam.
you talk continental airline, Panam.
Well, Ghana,
We had
yeah, but
as many transcontinental airlines then as we have now, as we have total airlines now.
yeah, because Nigerian Airways and Ghana Airways, even though they are regional countries, but they also were engaged in transcontinental flights, correct?
But not flight from Freetown. When I talk about transcontinental, a plane where they come off Freetown, they go either Europe, America, or Asia. Where something at one stop, it go stop. Like how you get SN Brussels, where he left Brussels, it come Freetown, from Freetown to Monrovia, and straight to Brussels.
All right.
You know, they change plane. That I will call transcontinental.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
we have, like you say, we have just as many. Then we had as many as almost 8 to 10 transcontinental airlines will be the land
Yes.
and take off in Sierra Leone, as we do now have a total of airlines landing
Yeah.
now.
And the interesting thing about that, they are the ones who are likely to use bigger aircraft, by nature pay more landing fee. Because the regional airlines mostly use like Boeing 737, smaller airlines, small aircraft. Okay.
Much more.
Look at how Suma group of company they get it. Go back to the one. So you get landing. You get passenger handling fee, whether they part of the ticket. We will go to that ticket one day later on. You get cargo handling fee. You get fees for that. One day we go and use save the plane night, like plane garage. They will charge you for that. You get aircraft maintenance fee. Yeah. Then small maintenance if the plane stop there. Right. So those are the ones where you collect operationally. But then the other side where they get money, now the concessions where they give to people that where they use the airport complex, like restaurants, bars, business lounge, finance, like banking hall. If you get some like some airport, as also get in a shop. More airport they want to go to Africa. Shop where they sell local use like then Romco and then small drum.
Yeah, the gift shops them.
From then they will rental fee. Then also car park. We want car park na the airport. Charge because the airport get back. That's where they get their money from. Now, look at the issue of this ticketing and that $25 charge. Okay, now before Suma group of companies come, two service providers when it comes to airport security and management. We have Westminster Security, we have Securiport. Westminster Security, they become more or less by classification. Children, you don't talk about that. We agree with that. Now then people and they when they left the country, now they get for looking at passport and then they take picture of your passport.
Of your passport.
You be not make comments on that as to the security of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And in fact, if
I
may
interrupt, much on that for.
Yeah, because indeed the current practice is then they take picture of your passport, and that creates a security risk because we don't know the chain of custody of them photographs then they by a foreign company where they operate with airport. It's one thing for look at your passport and scan them, or for take a look at them and just say, okay, everything looks good and let you go through. It's another thing to let, it's another thing to just let them, my power is going out, so sorry about that. So it's, okay, got it. So it's another thing to just let them take picture of people and passport. Because the trouble is, it's quite possible that without a proper custody of their information there, your identity can be sold, can be or can be hacked, and then your name, maybe not your picture, can be used for other ulterior purposes then abroad. So what security, what guarantee, what mechanism has the government put in place, or will the Suma group have in place? Because there is something that doesn't look right with people's passports being snapped or the pictures being taken of your passport. So I'm concerned about that.
Well, I posed that question not about the issue of taking your passport picture. When the director of CIA was on AYV, it's on record if people can check. I asked the question, I said, what is the purpose? What will happen to one, Westminster Security? They say, well, they will negotiate with Suma group of companies whether they will retain their services. And also go see something under the new airport. Instead of getting where they go check with passport and snap them, like most country airports, where you check in, you go straight to the airline check-in desk, and then they verify your passport and your ticket. Then the final people wait for check your tickets, now the immigration. So we create a third tier.
Yeah.
No. Now, immigration, they could take your picture through the camera. And that is mostly done with the kind side.
Then security camera, yes.
Then security camera. Then they can take your they can take your fingerprints, but they know they take
particulars of your passport. Precisely.
No.
Which is going
because
on.
Because with passport and a machine really will passport them. So then go there and make the machine verify them. So then on one side. So now we come to this issue of that $25. Right. Because I did pose the question. Because the other people, the way they provide service, now Securiport. As far as I know, the reason why they bring Securiport, where they say expert security people, Now then they provide CCTV camera for the airport. They provide this for your baggage, both passenger bag. Then I then get sniffer dogs. So I did ask the director, why do you happen to security report? Because if Suma group they can take, then they go get for provider. And guess what the director told me? He said on air, it's on record. He said the $25 and the security report now government contract. Get nothing for do with Suma Group for company. And the reason he did that, it's on record, people can check AYV. What was the question and he replied? He said, because now they collect data for immigration. That's the reason he said. So now I said, so for my calculation, based on passenger throughput, that $25 a day, the aggregate is $5 million. Now they come in. And now I explain to people them how that $25 they come in and what's in the explanation with them in Giwi. Then before I will go down to this breakdown of the ticket price. The $25 originally, security reports been put an announcement, say they want to charge $25 extra for security. That attracted the attention of Parliament by no other person, even like the Speaker. So then government put a press release out, say, right, security reports not get the right for do that. So it was shelved. But several weeks after, the government came with that $25 a day. And guess what? The person will be the defend the $25 charge, not to be even the Minister of Transport under which the airport they under. Now be the Minister of Internal Affairs, where now the immigration they under. He said at the time, the $25 when in charge, government been the subsidized we. Say government been the pay the charge government $100 for airport security. But then they negotiate $39. And now they negotiate it be $25. But the time have been $39, it been then a ticket price. It's official. So now if the director of CA tell we say they don't do well for we, they don't negotiate unto $2. Although they say, what you get for us now? If our left family, because this ticket will get the breakdown. Now from September and that $25 they can after. Our left family next time you go we buy ticket, check and see what your ticket comprise of. So if you look at the charges to Sierra Leone, right, on this ticket will get up. Sierra Leone security aviation charge is $39. So if they say still at $25, then give you the reason, which I not see the justification, then it means future tickets should not contain that $39 day. Exactly. Because now they pay the $25 directly to government, and they want it in dollars, not even in euros. In and out. Then the other charge, they pay $5 Sierra Leone development charge. They not tell you whether the development are for airport or for the country. It's a $5 for Sierra Leone development charge. Then the one way baffled me, you get Sierra Leone foreign exchange, foreign travel tax. Then at $55.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you get Sierra Leone passenger service charge, when at $25. So, when you look at you get $39 aviation charge, $5 development charge,
$25.
$55 foreign exchange charge and $25 passenger service charge.
That's
But yet
that's
still,
over.
we been get
That's over
when they
100.
tell we say, yeah, when they tell say government no reduce tax per the ticket. And this information, as you see, I'm now as from September last year. So then it comes to the question is, with this new airport, what you will ask now, is it likely that users of the airport will have to pay more to Sierra Leone? Because we get the highest ticket price in the region. So I think say this will be a good sign to stop, you know, and if there's any question, if the control room gets few questions on the Facebook page Woki and Sato, we will be very much willing to respond to them. If not, I will. And thank you very much for somebody sending this. Learn a lot tonight from Mr. Akumengot. Real vibes. Thank you, brother. We're here to provide information to people. And me, I can always say, my profession teach for when they provide information, I provide evidence and facts. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shillon, you have the floor.
Well, we don't have any more calls.
They say we'll get callers on the queue. Control room, if we get caller, I think say people don't want to talk about this airport business.
No more calls in the queue.
Okay. Okay,
No
if there's
more
no call, then Mr. Shillon, the floor is up to you until I round up. Then I will give people a preview of next week's program. So, Mr. Shillon.
No, I don't have. Well, I would rather for you to just go ahead because we almost out of time. So just give you a roundup. Then we can say goodbye.
Well,
because
Fabulem, I thank you very much. We don't deal with two important, difficult topics. We hope so we do justice to them. And as usual, we are non-partisan. Our party is Sierra Leone. In fact, making joke to people and say, whose party belong to? I say, me party, na me na the flag bearer, na me na the chairman, my own party na Ajip. Any government in power. Not my own party. So I hope say we do justice to it. Huh? And this airport thing, popular request, I can send message to we on viewers. If you know get further discussion, we will get that. But for continue this theme, we next go be when I'm your area. And the two areas we'll go look at, three areas where the government be announced. They announce say, one, they don't get agreements with the mining company for extend the railway. Two, then talk about seaports, coastal sea transport, where something if you remember we get them before, albeit in a formal place, because people they take boats go Bond and Pepel. But we're making strategic now. Then three, we will talk about an issue where I get much knowledge and plan about when a public transport na our country. We go deal with them poda, keke, okada. For in a way they out we no like define them. Keke na the three-wheeler, waiting and called tricycle. Okada na two-wheeler, commercial bikes. We all their name then are from Nigeria, we borrow them. So for roundup, we've been got our favorite program that Salone will call For Wheel and to Foot. When I mean program where they talk about transport. But now, if we want to get that same program there, we go start with 2-wheel, 3-wheel, 4-wheel, 6-wheel, and 1 foot. So with that, I tell you, I thank you for listening to me. Now, I'll hand over to my co-host, who has, as usual, been very, very each other. There's no monopoly in knowledge. So for let's give the final word. Over to you, Mr. Shillon.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mangot. As Mr. Mangot, as usual, I personally is very much appreciative of your presence and your contribution. So I'm sure the audience them equally are appreciative of your knowledge and the information we pass. And I also thank you very much for making the time, because as usual, we don't get paid for this. This is just we own contribution from afar in trying to enlighten people and to make sure say people them know what for expect and what they go on and try for be analytical. So until next week, we hope you people have had a wonderful time listening to we. Sending in comments. Without even sending comments, just listening, and I hope we learn something from this broadcast this evening. Until next week, same time, thank you very much for listening, and we hope for see each other on the screen next week. Thanks a lot. Good night. Good morning. Goodbye.
This is the Central University. Here, we move a little differently. We are the change makers, the innovators. We are solving the problems of the 21st century. We create, we lead, we inspire. Beginning your journey at Central University is opening your chapter to success. Here, we are a family that works together to make the change today for a better Sierra Leone and world tomorrow. Here is a home for you. Central University, a place where careers begin.